feel there's that comedy still rippling through. So downstairs there was a flavour of fear and panic that was going on. You know, how we manage things, because we were speaking about that as well, and with what you were sharing, you know, that energy that goes on, and trust. So in order to trust, we need to let our guardedness down. We need to soften the protection. And in doing that, something rises up. So we have to be willing to meet whatever this is, to be open to experience whatever this initial rising is. Usually, and it may vary, but usually it's that fear and panic. That when we stop, when we hand over, that there's some edge vibrating underneath that we have to do, that we have to manage, that somehow it's up to us to take action, to take charge. So trusting and being surrendered in trust doesn't mean that you won't take any action. It's just there's a relaxedness around whatever the action is that's being called to be taken. You're not having to figure it out. You're not having to. So yes, the body is doing it, but you're not having to do it. You're not in charge of it. So can you feel that when you totally soften and start with the body, soften the body, soften anywhere where there's holding. And why is there holding? Because there's guarding. So the willingness to soften wherever it is, shoulders, belly, back, legs, thighs, anywhere, you know, you might, some people clench their jaws. So do you notice where you're holding? And you just soften. And then you soften even more deeply. If you soften more deeply, you might slide off the couch. Well, see, that's it, because we can be very soft and very open, and yet there's still a subtle guardedness, isn't there? This protection somehow, this edge of protection, this edge of control, this edge of being the someone doing something, needing something. And so you just notice, you soften. And you notice the breath. Maybe you become aware that the breathing has been fast. Maybe you become aware you've been holding your breath. And so breathe. and soften and open. And as you do, be willing to just explore and notice what's here. It's not about conjuring something up. If there's nothing here, there's nothing here. How delightful. Maybe the guardedness is in preparation for something being here, in anticipation that something might be here, and when you soften, you notice nothing's here. Or maybe you notice that quake somehow. And there's nothing that you need to do with it. You soften even into the quake. The quake or the tremor or the shake, whatever is there. Maybe it's a heat that you notice if you soften your guard. And no matter what's here, the willingness just to say yes to it. Because the habit is, oh no, it's that. Oh no, it feels, and the contraction happens again. So it might not be comfortable. But what if that's okay? Did you sign an agreement coming in that said it's only going to be comfortable in this life? I don't think it was particularly comfortable coming, into birth of form. And as we see when we speak about the seed starting to germinate, it doesn't look comfortable as it explodes, the shell, the root goes down and the leaf stem starts to go up. Doesn't necessarily look comfortable. So rather than with the mind discerning what is it or how does it feel, soften more deeply than the mind. Soften into the experience of here. All the way in. More deeply than the form. So more deeply than the body. Soften all the way in. More deeply than the breath. The breath points you in. And as you keep softening, you begin to notice who or what is actually softening. What is this that is softening? What is this that is softening into? And every time you become aware of that tremor, that thought that arises, the habit to follow it, it's just a clue that something's being avoided here. There's no reason to avoid. The sensation can't hurt you. The emotion can't hurt you. Thought can't hurt you. So every thought that arises, soften in. It's endless. Not its endless sensation, not its endless emotion, not its endless doing of this softening. This that you soften into is endless. And maybe you want to experiment. If your eyes are open, close them. If your eyes are closed, open them. And see. Soften here as you are. So what's being discovered just right now as you're sitting here? What are you noticing? Could be a sensation, could be an emotion, it could be nothing. You know, it's like to discover the truth of what's here. It's not necessarily wrapped the way we're taught is a good way in, you know, marketing and advertising. It's like if you're buying an ice cream, usually it has something enticing to make you want it. Well, this doesn't have that kind of wrapping, but it's the same. And you won't discover what's on the inside unless you fully have a look. See, we hear the word fear, or lots of them, any word really, but hear the word fear or anxiety, and we equate it with, it shouldn't be here. It's bad or wrong, or there's something wrong. But right here, there's just this. And some flavour arising through it. So we have to be willing to turn and face, to love fully. Because we keep hating, we keep being at war, saying, no, not this. I want to be free, but no, not this. I want peace, but no, not this. Is that still? I'm wiggling around. There's just this. There is not something else. There is not later. The mind can have its, they've done studies, there's thousands of thoughts go through the mind. Even a quiet mind. Imagine how many thoughts go through a busy mind. So that's the mechanism that runs. Thoughts go through, blood pumps, digestion happens. So we don't need to direct our attention to stopping the thoughts, to stopping the heart, to stopping the air in the lungs. We don't need to direct our attention to that. So the thoughts will arise. Direct your attention here. No matter how much everything wants you to move from this, discover what it is. And it's the same whether it's fear or shame or anger or hatred or hurt or betrayal or like on and on. Doesn't matter what it is. Whatever's arising also falls away. It's as though we're constantly running away from ourselves. So there's the invitation to stop and be here. No more running, no more moving. Free is free regardless of the mind, regardless of the body, regardless of sensation, regardless of emotion. Free is free. It doesn't mean anything other than that. It means nothing. The life will look how the life looks. The body will look how the body looks. It's just you don't pay it attention. You don't make it mean anything anymore. So being here no matter what, no matter how it feels, no matter what we think about it, just being here. This grace is already living your life. It's already living it. You're just catching up to that. And the reality is we actually don't know anything. We don't know anything. We just make up that we know stuff. You know, like even at school, I don't know if it was last week or something, and someone's turned and gone, oh, Yantra, she's the expert. I go, no. No. You know, we don't actually know anything. And how beautiful when you can actually do that, when someone's going, she's the expert, and you're going, nah. Doesn't touch anything, doesn't go anywhere. You're not going, yeah, it's good. Brownie put, like nothing. It's like, there's just some life experience. Who can really be an expert? Just turn your attention here. That's all. So simple. So much ease and grace. No matter what's occurring, you know, when you say plate spinning, no matter what's occurring. It's why I've shared what I've shared about when Cohen died. Undeniable peace. Pain, yes. Hurt, yes. Upset, yes. Undeniable peace. Body shattered, yes. You know, whatever in the physical world, yes. But here, untouched. Same love. Form or no form, same love. Because we can go looking for it, can't we? Like we can go looking for following this thought and this thought, or this feeling, or this sensation and this sensation. Or we can just be aware of it all and just be here in the pot of honey, as the pot of honey, tasting the pot of honey as us. We don't have to be anything or do anything to be this. We look at Ramana's experience, the fear of death came from his father dying and what he experienced around that. But he wasn't aware of that consciously. And so it was like it was percolating away inside. And something had him, in his innocence, something had him just meet the absolute terror of death. It wasn't a thought, I wonder how I'll be after this. I'll just see. It wasn't like that. There wasn't a later. There was the absolute terror of death, of non-existence, and discovering, meeting this here. Not another moment. We live as though there's another moment. And that, you can feel, there's that, even as I say that, you know, there's like I feel that something in the room went, because we live as though there's another moment. And there's this hint of fear. Or maybe it's like that. It's no fear. That's why it's a hint of fear. That I won't function then. And then we miss it. So you notice so subtly, see this is key, we notice so subtly then this movement to later, to the land of later. It's good having a child, you know, a little one, because you have all these amazing stories, you know, living in the land of later. That's what we do, we live in the land of later, rather than here. So is anything actually wrong here? Is anything actually deficient here? Is anything actually broken here? Does anything need attending to here? It's only when we go, yeah, but what if? What about? Then how will I? What if they? It's like, and what's under that? You can feel there's, see, that's the terror. That's the fear. That I won't, I can't, I'll never. What if, all that. So how beautiful. It just points you back. Be willing to meet the fear. Again and again and again, more and more deeply. Taste that honey, every bit. Fear flavoured. Because we're turning our back on it again. No, that's not the beloved. That's fear. That's not how this life's meant to look. But it is the beloved. Remember? Come, come. Come with me. Take my hand, meet me. That's what the fear's saying. Take my hand, meet me, know me intimately, know the truth of this so deeply. And you'll notice that fear, you know, and maybe it's even, because you know the thought that arises here is that image of Ramana being, his body being eaten by vermin. He was so in love, so in bliss, so in samadhi that he had no idea. He didn't care. There wasn't a he to worry. You know, I've shared that when I was pregnant with India. How will I function? What if I can't look after? If I keep dissolving into, just dissolving into bliss, dissolving into, how on earth can I look? Life takes care of it. There was not anything that I had to do. Nothing. The body knew what to do, and the baby was born, and the mothering happened, and here we are. So the worrying is just another guise of the fear. It's good. It's good. We're not taught that it's okay to be terrified. So we spend our life managing it all. Instead of, you know, and it feels like, you know, you said before when it feels like you're going to be sick. Like fear will do that. Terror does that as well. You know, it's like you're going to vomit because it's so, the feeling of it's so intense in the body. Well, because the reality is, who wants to vomit? Who wants to actually have that much fear that all of a sudden you might just be sick on the carpet? Really, I mean, it can be like that. I've shared that with you, you know, in journey events when people are facing that level of terror. You know, sometimes we're running with the lined buckets because it causes the body to erupt. Sometimes in that way. But the willingness to make it, and then you didn't vomit. The body did whatever it did. And what's the worst? You vomit. And here, really here, there's nothing going on. Because even that line, no line, and this side and that side, and razor's edge, or like it's all just words, isn't it? It's all just words. This, the beauty of this, the magnificence of this, the joy of this, the love of this, the unknowableness of this, the mystery of this. The delight.